How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm very good.
Let me at the start of the show introduce you formally. All right.
Yes.
So you're somebody who's actually revolutionized the entire movie industry. I think before you, Bollywood. No, honestly, like no jokes. But before you, I
Thank
think
you.
in the fraternity it used to be like a male-dominated fraternity, and now from a male-dominated fraternity, I see women in lead roles. When you say actor now, it means both actor and actress. And I think if there's one person who wants to do anything with that transition from a male dominated industry to an industry with gender equality, it is this person. Any kahani, whether kahani 1 or kahani 2, I think you are quite honestly from the dirty picture to every clean picture, which is whether with any of your films, from Tumari Sulu to Kismat Connection, I think quite honestly, the connection that you've made with your fans is something that's unbreakable. But the reason I respect this lady is not just because of what she does on screen, but I think off screen. Right from being a part of our first advisory board, which I
Yes.
hope you've not forgotten, all the way to
Not at all.
all the way to being a champion for PETA, to protecting the environment. Quite honestly, your fan page is called We Be Inspired, and you leave us inspired. Vidya Balan, welcome to Kuch Toh Karona.
Oh, thank you so much. And honestly, my head's just becoming bigger by the second with all that you've just said. Jokes apart. Thank you for that lovely introduction. Yeah, but how are you doing? How are you holding up in these times?
No, so I've been holding up pretty fine. And though if I would give my family members a choice, they wouldn't be holding me, but they would be throwing me out of it. But the idea is, I think the pandemic
And
is.
you wouldn't mind that. You wouldn't mind that, would you? Any excuse to get out, huh?
I know, but but I must ask you this. Everyone's talking so much about the pandemic and they talk about the anxiety and so on and so forth and all of that. But at the top of the show, let me ask you, saying, what's the one positive from the pandemic, according to you?
The fact that pollution levels have gone down dramatically, the fact that we're breathing much purer air, the fact that there are birds, of all kinds that we can see outside our window because we live on the beach. And
Correct.
the beach is so clean. And I think just the noise pollution has also gone down. Though I wouldn't have wished for it to happen like this, but I'm saying
Correct.
one has to look at the positives, like you said. And I think there are many positives to this. And the fact that, the other thing, I think, for all those overworked people, they're probably getting time at home, not to be traveling, not to be encountering traffic twice a day. Must be such a welcome change.
I know I'm talking about birds. We spoke about birds, all right? So, but the problem is with birds, so they often come and they sit out here, all right? So we don't have like a
Yeah,
parapet or something and so on.
right.
But they sit out here. Sometimes they make their nest, but sometimes they just mistake my hair and my head for their nest. So this is the problem of the lockdown. This is the problem Shruti, I'm facing.
So what you do is you just pull your hair up and go chop, 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 chop. And whatever happens, it'll look like a cool hairdo.
No, but quite honestly, these are the problems that people like, and we're lucky, we're the privileged few that are able to have this conversation over
Yeah.
Instagram. But my heart goes out for all the migrant workers and people who are not as privileged. And
On a day-to-day basis, there are such heartbreaking images and stories of people walking across states, people losing lives. So I think more than anything else, this time has also made me, I'm someone who's very grateful generally also, but now I find myself counting my blessings every moment of the day. There's so much that we all have to be grateful for, right?
no, and I know it's one thing that it's taught me. The pandemic has taught me is how to be more empathetic and how to be more grateful. I think
Yes,
I think that's
absolutely.
the biggest positive. But tell me, is there one habit that you've inculcated whilst in whilst lockdown at your house, which you want to continue right through? Something that has become a habit
So
during the pandemic.
yeah, so we obviously have a gardener, a Mali, come home But during the pandemic, I started watering my plants. I've started caring for them. And that's something that I've begun to really enjoy. And I hope to continue to do that even after the lockdown.
You started gardening.
Yeah, basically watering my plants and, just tending to them. I think it's so lovely. There's something very calming about it.
Vidya, we out here,
Wow.
there is all of these plants that need a lot of help. But
Yeah. They're
and
getting too much.
they would love to have Vidya Balan. I'm sure that building would love to have Vidya Balan as their gardener. So I'm pretty sure anybody who lives in your building uh, is absolutely loving the fact that Balan is the gardener in the building. But
I'm not, obviously not taking care of the plants, the trees in the building, but in my house, and just outside in the lobby and stuff.
and just outside in the lobby and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm saying on behalf of all the residents in your building, we want you to, because they sent me a message immediately as soon as you said this. All the residents in your building sent me a message saying, please can we get Vidya Balan to also be the gardener for the building?
Happily.
Well, let me take you to the second part of what we do. It's called Tum Bhi Karona.
Yes.
Okay. So we've taken the word Corona and we've changed it and added words before and after. So
Right.
if you don't like the segments, I'm not to blame. Nor is Karan Johar, because neither him or me have anything to do with this. But it's young people who made these questions. So Vidya, I've studied story also, and everyone knows about the hardships that you faced growing up. And in today's day and age, when we, and especially during the lockdown, there's a lot of anxiety and there is a lot of, mental health issues that young people are facing.
Yeah.
As somebody who's faced this in her profession growing up, in terms of, all the different hardships that you faced, is there any anecdote that you'd like to share that could help us cope with the lockdown better?
Yeah, since we're talking about my early years in films, I faced a lot of rejection for almost a period of 3 years. Everything I touched literally turned to dust. So, I was confirmed for a dozen South Indian films, which I got replaced in, because the first film I was doing that got me all these a dozen offers later, that stopped midway. So I got labeled Jinx. And I think that was very heartbreaking because I had nothing to do with it. And I'm not a superstitious person. I don't believe in these Panvati and, Jinx and all that rubbish. So it was very heartbreaking. Correct. And it was the beginning of my career. So it was very damaging to my self-confidence. I kept asking myself if I really wanted to be an actor. There were times when I would cry myself to sleep. But then, with every new day, when I'd wake up, there would be this fire in the belly, this hope in my eyes. And I would tell myself, I'll give myself another day. Let's see what happens. And, slowly but surely, things began to change. I think what I've learned, Rishabh, is that no rejection is final. And what we see as failure, these are not mere words. But every failure is actually a stepping stone to success. It's teaching you something. It's equipping you so that you're able to deal with the success when it comes to you. So don't reject your failures. However tough that may sound, it's actually not that tough.
So don't reject your failures, embrace them.
Yes,
for somebody like who encounters failure on a daily basis, I have no option but to embrace them, Vidya. So I embrace them.
No, but I also think, Rishabh, life is full of ups and downs. It's not just at the beginning of my career, but I think even now there are ups and downs. And that's or so-called struggle is part of life. You have to really take it with your head held high. Tell every tell the problem. One of my favorite quotes is tell your problem. I have a big God don't tell God I have a big problem. For a believer like me, I think it's a very simple thing, but
Super.
yeah. But I feel, you can't let any failure define you. And then slowly you'll realize, of course you'll see success. That's inevitable. But you'll stop letting success define you too.
It's fantastic. But first, I'll let success try to define me. After it's tried to define me, then but I get what you're saying. I get what you're
Yeah.
saying, and I think it's imperative for young people to understand what Vidya is saying. So and these young people are smarter than me, so they've got the message.
Also, also the definition of success is very important. I'm going to share something with you. So, I heard that there's a certain cricketer who charges 5 crores of rupees for 1 day of shoot on an ad film. And I looked at my husband, Siddharth, and I said, I don't get paid that much. I wonder if that'll ever happen. And he turned to me and said, that cricketer must be thinking, Messi gets paid 4 times the amount I get paid for 1 day of shoot. That brings perspective because, there's no end to comparing yourself with anyone, your success with anyone else's, your life situation with anyone else's. I think it's unique, and that's the beauty of life.
So I think we should not compete against anyone per se. We should only relatively try to improve oneself. Look into the mirror. Look into the mirror, and for somebody like me who loves looking at the mirror, for obviously the obvious reason, I continue to maintain that I think that is the best way forward. You should
have been an actor if you're looking into the mirror that much.
Vidya, the problem is that somebody should cast me in a movie in order to act also. No, the one thing is desire to want to do something. The second thing is the other person accepting that, yeah, this person is fit for something. But no, I think I'm better off away from the industry. Otherwise, it'd be difficult to cast someone else.
It can be a one-person film. Never say never.
Talking about one people film and talking about the new normal, your movie Shakuntala Devi is going to be releasing on OTT.
Yes,
on
Amazon Prime.
Correct. Amazon Prime, please, if you're hearing this, remember we are promoting this. Therefore, if you feel generous and if you have extra money, there is a show called Kuch Toh Karona. But what is the new normal according to you for the next 6 months? What do you think is going to be the new normal? And in that relation, according to the film industry, like what's the new normal for cinema?
I think not just for cinema, but I think for all of us, it is, like you said, going to be a new normal. But who knows what that new normal is going to be? On a day-to-day basis, I feel like we're living life on a day-to-day basis. Until yesterday, we didn't know that the lockdown would be extended up to the 31st. And God knows what we're going to hear on the 31st. And then to what extent is it going to get relaxed? But I do think that cinemas will probably be the last to open because, people congregate in an enclosed air-conditioned space. And we very clearly know that the virus tends to breed in that kind of environment. So I think people are going to be scared. People are going to be very cautious before going into theaters. So I think before we have, people going to theaters, it's going to be a while. I don't know how we're going to restart shooting. I was in the middle of shooting for a film called Sherni.
Right.
And God knows.
It's a very apt title. Very, very apt title.
Yeah, God knows when we're going to be able to resume that. But so be it.
So that's the new normal. But this movie that you're coming out with, Shakuntala Devi, and of course the super calculator that she was, the super mathematician that she was, that's releasing on Amazon Prime. But there's no date to the release. Is there a definitive date?
No, there isn't a date yet. But I think we'll be able to announce the date in about a week or 10 days. By the end of the lockdown, for sure, we'll have a date.
Is this going to be the new way to release movies for the next 6 months? So you're saying that any movie that's going to be coming out?
So I think films that are complete, like we were supposed to release on the 8th of May. So actually we missed our release date. And now OTT platforms are present a great opportunity for us. So, which is why we're, showcasing on Amazon Prime. But,
Right.
there will be films that hold out and decide to release next year, go for the theatrical. But, I think to each his own. I don't think it's going to be the new normal but I think for the small and medium-sized films, this probably makes more sense because there's going to be literally a traffic jam for release dates, and
Correct.
then there's going to be issues like a paucity of screens, and of course, who knows, all those things, lots of considerations.
But any film that has you is not going to be anything which is small. It is going to be a blockbuster. I'm pretty sure.
Thank you.
No, that's it. We're very excited to watch those films. But apart from watching Amazon and Netflix and all of this, and I've almost run out of my subscriptions. That's the state of affairs for young people, I think, is we read and we're watching Netflix. There's no school, there's no college, there's not much to do. Offices are shut for people who are working professionals. So what is it that young people can do sitting at home? Vidya, we're very bored. We don't know what to do. We've seen Lage Raho Munna Bhai and the Good Morning Mumbai 100 times. But
I hope you're helping your parents out at home. I hope you're doing a little bit of cleaning. Even if you have staff, even they are overworked because everyone's now home. So I hope everyone's really pitching in, whether it's in the kitchen or, doing dusting, jharu, pocha, whatever it is. Do your little bit. Or like I said, even watering the plants, cutting vegetables maybe, I don't know, setting the table. But, this is also a good time to maybe maintain a journal, write down what you're feeling. Especially if you're alone at home, there are lots of people who stay by themselves. They're away from family. This can be a very tough time. Of course, thank God for, technology and your FaceTime and Zoom and WhatsApp and Insta and all of that. But still, I think you could end up feeling that people could have cabin fever. They could end up feeling lonely. They could end up feeling stressful about the future. So I think journaling is a good habit. Maybe to even try something like, I don't meditate myself, so I can't say meditate, but maybe just sit quietly, listen to your, favorite song, or just watch the empty roads. Whatever you have outside your window, maybe trees, maybe birds. Spend time with your family. We don't get to do that really. If you are fortunate enough to be in lockdown with your family, then just spend time with your family. And also,
that's true.
Spring cleaning. Get rid of stuff you don't need. Decluttering is very good.
No, decluttering is very good and helping at home is very good. I am also helping at home by not helping anyone at home. I attempted making food, honestly. I attempted doing my dishes, the food, everything. Yeah. But I'm very clumsy when it comes to all of this. So I've been told saying, please just make your bed and make sure that you do it properly. And beyond this, just make sure you put your dishes in the sink, Rishabh. And the sink is the one that is with the tap on top.
Don't you think that this is a time when we're all realizing that there are so many things we take for granted? Little things like this. You won't pay attention to where you're dropping the plate. How many of us, I make my bed every morning anyway, but I think it's, these are little things that we can all do. After you finish a meal, go drop your plate in the sink. If you can do the dishes, great. Fold the clothes, maybe iron them. Lots to do. Settle your books, go through old photographs, organize them.
Yes. And best thing is to maintain a journal and to write the journal. And I think that's a great tip because I think what's happening is unprecedented. And I think if we just maintain our own journal for the next 40 days, I mean, for the last 40 days, hopefully not the next 40 days, but for the last 40 days, if we had maintained the journal, I think it would be a story that would be worth telling for years to come. Because I think a time such as this will only come back, hopefully not before, anytime before the next 100 years. And hopefully even after.
Yeah, exactly. Touch wood. You know, also, I feel it's very healing.
Right.
Just to write down what you're feeling. And if you feel, you know, you vented out a lot of anger, maybe resentment, maybe restlessness or fear, you can even tear it out, tear it up and just throw it in the bin. You know, that's a great exercise.
It's a great idea to talk to people and to help people out. And I think one of the things that IIMUN that we're doing, and Vidya, you'd be the happiest to know, is this lockdown has actually cleared. And I'm sure from your house, I've seen your balcony. I know that it's the same view. But I'm sure you're able to see, you know, the fact that it's so much more cleaner. It's so much more greener. That we're trying to, on June 5th, we're trying to start a small petition to get 1 week of lockdown compulsory every year, where the people who should be caged.
I signed that petition.
But I didn't send it to you.
I don't think it was the IIMUN petition. It was a petition that someone else sent to me. But I think it's a great idea. You know, it'll help all of us. It'll help the environment.
And that's
lessons to be learned.
And the people who should be caged will be caged, and the real inhabitants of the world will actually be let free. You know, it's a very nice idea. Seeing the elephants and the birds walk the streets in the smaller towns, and people being caged inside. Because I firmly believe that there's no planet B, and I'm so happy that you signed the petition. I'll send you ours also. You should sign that one also.
Please do.
But Vidya, let me take you to the last part, and you're honestly an inspiration and a champion of so many social causes. But I'm going to take you to the last part, which is a slight fun rapid fire. I want you to tell me.
I'm terrible at these. I'll try.
The first thing that comes to your mind, all right? The first thing that comes to your mind when I say the following words.
Okay.
Lockdown. If I were to say lockdown, what's the first thing that comes to your mind?
Still better than a lockup.
And that reminds me, guys, don't step outside up until it's safe and up until the government advises you to do so, because otherwise, instead of being locked down in your house, you'll be locked up and you'll be hoping and wishing that you were locked down.
Exactly. Absolutely.
Anyone from the Maharashtra government would like to sponsor this show, we are happy and open. We are politically agnostic, so we are happy. But moving forward, in terms of food, when somebody says food, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
Pav bhaji. After the lockdown, I want to have a good pav bhaji somewhere. I love pav bhaji. You know, while my cook makes it, it's just not the same when you have it outside. It's actually so sinful with all that butter and mouth-watering.
There's Sardar Pav Bhaji in town. If you've not tried it, you have to try it.
I have.
There's this place called.
Where is that?
It's in town. It's next to Cherney Road, and it's very close to where IIMUN is. So the next time you're at IIMUN, we'll get you that.
Done. So I'm going to drive down right after the lockdown.
Trust me, if you say that, I think there'll be a few. There are already 4,500 people on this live, Vidya. I think out of these 4,500 people, I think we'll see many thousands lining up just waiting to see Vidya Balan. So guys, just don't go there. We'll get a proper date and then we'll ask Vidya to come down. But Vidya, when somebody says kahani, apart from kahani 1 and 2, what comes to mind?
Apart from kahani 1 and 2. Oh, apart from kahani 1 and 2, just everyone's kahani. I'm very interested in everyone's kahani. I'm a very curious person. So I think that's that's my learning ground as an actor. That's where I've trained, you know, just hearing people's stories, absorbing their feelings when they're telling their stories, just watching their expressions, hearing their voices. Kahani.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And who, when somebody says inspiration, what is it that comes to mind?
At the moment, are health workers. I think I'm most inspired by them at this point.
That's good. If you would have said anybody else, I would have just pointed to the screen, but in a very humorous manner, in a very light-hearted manner. But the health workers are the real heroes. They're the frontline heroes who are making a difference. When somebody says gender equality, Vidya, when somebody would tell you gender equality, what would come to mind?
When someone says gender equality,
I would say Vidya
Balan. I think, you know, we all, I think we're, oh God, you've asked me for everyone's right.
It's not so tough here, Vidya. It was a simple. But I'm sure in your mind it must be all these long answers. Like I can so totally imagine you in school and in college being the person who topped class all the time by writing all those long answers the teacher asking.
I actually love writing long answers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Hermione Granger of the class. The Hermione Granger of.
You know what struck me just now when you said gender equality? Of course, a lot of your our viewers at this point are students, but equal pay.
Correct. Very true. Very, very true. And I think that and that's something that's coming about. And hopefully, young people who are listening to this settle for nothing but equal pay. But
yes,
if you're in the same industry as me, then we'll give it a skip. Because you'll anyway be getting more money than me, so then there's no problem.
I knew you were going to say that.
Listen, I didn't know I've become so predictable, but when somebody says India, you are Padma Shri, all right? So all of you who don't know, of course you know, she's a Padma Shri in 2014. She was given one of the highest state honors in our country. Vidya, when somebody says India, what is the first thing that comes to mind?
Okay, I am that's what it is.
Oh,
you know,
that's
I'm so hopelessly patriotic. It's not funny, and I don't mean you know, whatever Jai Hind sort of way, but just I think it's the best country in the world.
How's the Josh? How's the Josh? Oh yeah. When somebody says favorite film, what is the first thing that comes to mind?
Before Sunrise.
Before Sunrise.
Yeah, those two.
And when somebody says,
have you watched it?
It's a trilogy.
Before Sunrise, Before Sunrise.
It's a trilogy.
Before Midnight. Yeah.
It's a trilogy. No, I've not seen it. What is it about? What is it about?
Beautiful love story. You know,
and
it traces the journey of a couple over a period of 20 years. It's lovely.
Wow. Yeah. No, I'll tune in and I'll watch this tonight. If it's available on these OTT platforms, which I'm sure it's going to be.
I don't know, but you can check it out.
Okay. So the next question, the second last question. Okay. When somebody says love, what is the first thing that comes to mind?
Can I be predictable?
Yeah. I am very predictable.
Siddharth.
Oh.
My one and only love. Thankfully, even during the lockdown, I'm feeling like that. Not bad.
I was going to ask you that, saying after 50 plus days of staying together, which I'm sure for you, considering lives, must have been the maximum time that you must have spent together with each other.
Exactly. And I didn't know how that would be, you know, how would we feel at the end of a week. Okay, we spent together on holidays, but it's been great. That's what.
That's what. Yeah. And you all make for an ideal couple. I've seen you all at a restaurant whilst you were eating, and and you're very, very gracious. Must tell you, you know, Vidya Balan as an actor is inspiring, but as a human being is even more inspiring. The two of them were having food, and an absolute nobody like me was in the restaurant. So they came over, they were passing by, we nodded, they came over and we spoke to them for a couple of minutes. I quite honestly respect you for the person that you are, Vidya, and therefore
How
I am
sweet.
very, very grateful. And I praised you specifically because my last question is this.
Okay.
The last question is, when somebody says IIMUN, what is the first thing that comes to mind?
The best, the brightest, the most brilliant minds, young minds. No, really, I have first-hand experience, so I can vouch for that.
It's been, well, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. Obviously, guys, she's referring to you and not me. So all the ones who are confused about what is she talking about, she's talking about you guys. All 5,000 of you.
All of you are brilliant, bright, beautiful. God bless you, and lots of love. And sorry, I couldn't take any messages individually, but I've been reading them in between our conversations. And thank you for all the love.
Thank you. You know, I met you, and I don't know whether you remember, as I leave you with the last thought, I met you for the first time in 2015 in Ambi Valley City.
Yes,
and,
I remember.
And you were in one of those tents getting ready, one of those places getting ready. And I came inside and I knocked and I said, "Madam, मैं Z TV से आया हूँ, मुझे एक interview लेना है."
I remember that. And I was like, how come there's media here?
How come he doesn't have a camera? How come they can allow? How come 16-year-old boys can take interviews? When did that happen?
But you're doing a great job, and more power to all of you. Really, Rishabh, and what a fantastic job you've been doing for the past 5 years. I'm aware of the work you're doing, but really, hats off to you.
Thank you very much. This is the reason why it's We Be Inspired. You've left us all very inspired. Thank you very much, Vidya Balan. You are honestly one of the people that I greatly respect and revere. For everybody who is not following this wonderful person on the screen, go and look up Rishabh Shah 2012. You will find a very inspiring person. Okay, bye, Vidya.
See you. Bye.